You know anything about this? He asked the Jedi. Either the planet or whoever she was talking to? Skywalker shook his head slowly, his eyes looking even more troubled. No, but I did see a vision of Mara the same time I saw myself here, and where she was, it might have been a cave.
I hated to leave her there,
Font said.
But I also didn't want to risk all of us disappearing without letting someone know what had happened, especially given those ships and that fortress.
No, you did the right thing, Card assured her. The question now is how we get her out. He looked up at Skywalker. Or rather, who we send to do the job. Skywalker must have heard the challenge in his voice. His eyes came back from whatever they were staring at to look down at Card. You're suggesting I go? Someone there seems to know you, Card pointed out. At least Mara thought so. You may be the only one he, or it, or they will be willing to talk to. I can't leave, Skywalker said, the words coming out almost mechanically, his attention clearly elsewhere. I have duties here. You have a duty to Mara, too, Card countered. For that matter, you have a duty to the rest of the New Republic. You saw one of those ships. You know we're dealing with an unknown culture here. If that fortress she saw is made of the same material as the one in Hijarna, they'll be able to sit in there and shrug off any attack we could throw at them. And, all right, Skywalker said. I'll go. Card blinked, taken slightly aback by the suddenness of the decision. He'd expected to have to argue at least a few more minutes, and probably throw in something concrete before the other agreed. But he also knew better than to question a decision he was already pushing for. Good, he said. Tell me what you need in the way of equipment or supplies, and we'll get it for you. You'll want a bigger ship, of course. Dankin, what do we have available? No time for that, Skywalker said before Dankin could answer. My X-Wing's over in docking rectangle 16. If you can download a copy of the nav data to R2, we'll get it refueled and be on our way.
You can't carry a passenger in an X-Wing,
Fawn objected.
If she's hurt...
Then we take her ship and leave the X-Wing behind. Skywalker cut her off. We're wasting time. You won't get very far in a Defender, Card reminded him. King is bored on a hunch. Yes, the timing and distances would work. Let me suggest a compromise. You leave here in your X-Wing, and I'll have the Dawn Beat bring the Jade's Fire to meet you off Darun. Her droid won't be activated, but you and your R2 should be able to fly it without any trouble. Skywalker shook his head. I don't want to try to sneak onto Nirawan with a ship that big.
Then leave the fire hidden somewhere in the outer system and ride your starfighter in,
Fawn suggested.
The docking port should handle an X-Wing without any problems.
Skywalker hesitated a heartbeat, then nodded. All right. Good, Card said. Dankin, get onto spaceport control and have a fuel order cut for his X-Wing. Number 1 on the priority list, and you can bribe or threaten whoever you have to get it there. Then put together the most comprehensive survival kit you can that will fit an X-Wing's cargo hold. 2 cubic meters and 110 kilograms, as I recall.
Got it,
Dankin said.
What kind of backup are we going to send in behind him?
As much as we can throw together, Card told him, keying for a list of available resources. His organization's fleet was impressively large, but scattered around the entire New Republic the way it was. It would take precious time to collect any kind of attack force together. I don't want any backup, Skywalker cut into his musings. Bringing in the Jade's Fire is risky enough. The more ships in the system, the better the chances one of them will be spotted. It'll be better for me to try to slip in by myself.
But you can't get her out alone,
Fawn said. I can, Skywalker said softly. I have to.
You can't,
Fawn insisted.
Card, tell him.
For a long moment, Card studied the younger man, his mind flicking back to that first meeting between the two of them aboard the Wild Card so long ago. Even back then, Skywalker had never been what he would have called brash. But looking at him now, Card was struck by the quiet maturity 10 years had added to his face.
"It's his call, Thrawn,"
he said.
"If he says he can do it, then he can."
Skywalker nodded. "Thank you," he said.
"I think the thanks are all on the other side,"
Card pointed out, trying to force a smile.
"All right, fuel and supplies, and the Jade's fire at Darun. What else do you need us to do?"
"Just what you're already doing," Skywalker said. "Keep looking into these riots, and if you find anything, get the information to Leia."
"Done,"
Card said.
"Anything else?"
"Yes," Skywalker said, a shadow crossing his face. "Could you get word to Leia on Coruscant and tell her where I've gone?"
"I'll go myself,"
Card promised, getting to his feet again.
"We'll leave as soon as you're gone."
"Thank you," Skywalker said. He turned and headed for the office door.
"You said you saw Mara in a vision,"
Card called after him.
"What was she doing?"
Skywalker paused in the doorway. "She was in a rocky place, floating in water," he said, not turning around. "And she looked dead." Card nodded slowly.
"I see."
He was still standing there, gazing at the open door, long after Skywalker had gone.